You check your account before a small purchase. $4, coffee. You've got $3.50 in there, should be fine, right? Then the notification hits, not for $4, for $39, an insufficient funds fee on a $4 coffee. Here's the thing, nobody tells you that fee wasn't a mistake. It was designed on purpose, for this exact moment, for you. And it's not the first time. You've paid these fees before, maybe more than once this year. You've probably told yourself you just need to be more careful with money. But what if the mistake was never yours? What if an entire system was built to profit specifically from moments like this one? Today, we're breaking down exactly how banks make money off people who have the least of it. Here's what we're all taught about banks. They're a safe place to keep your money. Checking accounts are practical, modern, convenient. Overdraft protection sounds like a favor, a safety net so your card doesn't get declined in an embarrassing moment. That's the pitch: convenience, protection, safety. Nobody markets it as what it actually is. So what is overdraft protection actually? Strip away the marketing and look at the mechanics. Your bank covers a purchase you can't afford in that moment, then charges you $35 on average for the privilege. If that sounds like a loan, that's because it is one. Just without any of the disclosures, a real loan is legally required to have. Here's a number you can actually verify. In one recent year, banks in this country collected roughly $15 billion in overdraft fees alone. $15 billion, not from wealthy customers with padded accounts, from people living close enough to zero that a $4 coffee could tip them over. That's not a side effect of the business, that's the business. So who actually pays that $15 billion? Research has shown it again and again. A small share of account holders, under 10%, generate the overwhelming majority of that fee revenue. Not because they're careless, because they are operating closest to the edge, paycheck to paycheck, with the least room for error. The system doesn't just tolerate that, it depends on it. What they told you, overdraft protection exists so you're never embarrassed at checkout. What actually happens? Overdraft protection exists so the bank can charge you $35 for a $4 mistake, then do it again 3 days later when the fee itself causes the next overdraft. One of these is a story, the other one is a cycle. Here's a mechanism most people have never heard of. For years, some banks process transactions largest to smallest instead of in the order you actually made them. Why does that matter? Because it can turn one overdraft into 4 or 5 separate overdraft fees from the exact same day of spending. Regulators eventually pushed back on this, but the incentive that created it never went away. So why offer free checking at all if it isn't actually free? Because free is the hook. It gets you in the door. Then minimum balance requirements, monthly maintenance fees, and overdraft charges quietly become the real business model. Free checking isn't charity. It's a loss leader that gets monetized the moment your balance dips, even for a single day. Here's twist number 2. Even without a single overdraft, many checking accounts charge a monthly maintenance fee, $10, $12, $15, unless your balance stays above a set minimum, often $500 or $1,500. If you can't keep that balance, you get charged for the crime of not having enough money already. Read that sentence again. Here's the refrain that actually matters. Banks don't make more money from you when you're wealthy and careful. In this specific corner of their business, they make more money from you when you're close to broke and one mistake away from a fee. Your financial stress isn't just something the bank tolerates. In the fee revenue column, it's an asset. I know that's a frustrating thing to sit with, but here's what changes once you actually see the mechanism. You stop blaming yourself for every fee, and you start looking for the specific product designed to avoid triggering one. Because that product already exists. It's just never the one your bank leads with when you open an account. Here's what actually exists right now. Credit unions and online-only banks, no monthly fee, no minimum balance, and critically, no overdraft coverage that quietly turns into a loan. Some flat-out decline the purchase instead of approving it and charging you later. That sounds inconvenient for 1 second at checkout. It's actually the entire point. No fee, no trap. Action step 1. Pull your last 12 months of bank statements. Most banking apps let you filter by transaction type. Add up every overdraft fee, every maintenance fee, every insufficient funds charge. Most people are shocked by the total. Then call your bank and ask them to refund the most recent one. Many banks waive a first offense if you simply ask. Action step 2. Call your bank and opt out of overdraft courtesy coverage entirely. This means a purchase you can't afford gets declined instead of approved and fee charged. Yes, that's mildly annoying at checkout sometimes. It is also completely free. A declined card costs you nothing. An approved overdraft costs you $35. Pick the free option. Action step 3. If your current bank charges monthly fees no matter what you do, switch. Moving your direct deposit to a no-fee account takes maybe 20 minutes online. It feels like a hassle you don't have time for. But that 20 minutes can save you over $100 a year, every single year, for as long as you bank there. Here's the mindset shift underneath all 3 of those steps. Your bank is not your friend. It's not looking out for you by default. It's a company with a fee revenue target like any other company. That doesn't mean every bank is evil. It means you evaluate the relationship the same way you'd evaluate any other vendor, by what it actually costs you, not by what it says about itself. Remember that $4 coffee from the start of this video. That $39 fee wasn't random, and it wasn't your fault for underestimating your balance by a few dollars. It was one small transaction inside a system built in part to generate revenue from exactly that kind of gap. Once you see the mechanism, you stop taking it personally, and you start closing the gap on purpose. None of this means you need to become a banking expert overnight. It means the next fee you see on your statement gets a different reaction than shame. It gets questioned, challenged, sometimes refunded, and the account it came from gets reconsidered entirely if it keeps happening. That shift alone, from self-blame to scrutiny, is worth more than any single refunded fee. You are not bad with money because you got hit with a fee designed to catch exactly the kind of gap you had. So drop this below. What's the worst overdraft or bank fee story you've got? I read every single one. And the next time your balance runs close to zero, remember, the system built that moment to profit off you. You don't have to make it easy for it.